And we are back for yet another ridiculous day of online learning. Today, what we're going to do in physics is simply go over your last homework assignment, and you'll have a similar one, so you can kind of start honing your skills and get more comfortable with the units of coulombs and things like that. So let's go over this homework here. And start out by reading it. An object with a charge of negative 4.5 times 10 to the negative 6 coulombs comes in contact with a neutrally charged object of identical size. Both objects are on insulating stands, and when they are touched, the charge spreads out evenly on both objects. So, a few things to note here, a few important words in this problem. First, identical size. We know all of the electrons on these objects, and since we have this negative sign, we know that there are an excess of electrons on object A. When they're touched together, all of the electrons are going to spread out as much as possible. They repel each other, and they're just going to spread out evenly. Also important is that they're on insulating stands. So what does this mean? Well, this means that none of the electrons can escape to the ground. So this is just some added information to the problem, so we know that all of this charge here is going to spread out on both objects. So let's go to the first question. How many electrons are on the charged object before they are touched? So if we want to know the number of electrons, and we're given the unit of coulombs, we have to convert that to elementary charges. So let's take this original charge, negative 4.5 times 10 to the negative 6th coulombs, and convert it to elementary charges. So we do that by setting up this fraction here, right? We're going to put coulombs in the denominator and elementary charges on top. We know 1 coulomb is 6.25 times 10 to the 18th elementary charges, or electrons. So we're doing a little bit of multiplication here. So let's go to the calculator to clear 17 times because we're all OCD with that. So we have negative 4.5 times 10. So I'm going to use the E button, second comma, which is going to take the place of times 10 to the negative 6th times 6.25 times 10 to the, so second E again, 18th. I'm gonna hit enter, and we have negative 2.81, we'll round it there, times 10 to the 13th elementary charges. So this is the charge of our object now. So how many electrons is this? Well, since we have a negative sign, we know there's extra electrons. So we have 2.81 times 10 to the 13th excess electrons on this sphere. So after they are, this should say touched. After they are touched, what happens to the total number of electrons shared between both objects? So this should stay the same. So the total number of electrons shared between both objects will stay the same. They're simply going to redistribute themselves from one object to another. So after they're touched, what is the charge of the second object in coulombs? So what we need to do is figure out what the total charge is first. So let's do that. Let's get our total charge of both objects. So we have negative 4.5 times 10 to the minus 6th coulombs. Let me just double check that. Yes. Plus the other object is neutrally charged, so 0 coulombs. So my total charge is negative 4.5 times 10 to the minus 6th coulombs. So what's going to happen here is this is going to spread out onto both objects. So all I have to do is just divide this into two separate objects. So we're just going to divide our number by 2. So let's do negative 4.5 times 10 to the minus 6th divided by 2. Right? So then we end up with our final answer here of negative 2.25 times 10 to the minus 6th coulombs on both objects after they're touched. So these problems are relatively straightforward here. All you have to do is figure out what the total charge is, right? And then divide it by the number of objects that are there. So what you guys can do is in your next homework, you'll see that there's some with like 3 objects. So you'll just be dividing by 3. All right. So if you guys have any issues with the next homework assignment, please let me know, but it will be posted on Classroom. And again, you'll be taking a picture and uploading it to Google Classroom. Okay, make sure you are uploading the picture to Google Classroom. Otherwise, you are not getting credit for these assignments. All right, have a good one, guys. I'll see you later.